It's a disgrace what took place, it's a disgrace, and I think they ought to apologize to start with Michael Cohen.
Sir, since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking
No,
our news
not you.
organization,
Not
can
you.
you give us a chance?
Your organization,
You are
sir.
attacking our news organization.
Your organization,
Can you give us a
sir.
chance to
Let's-
ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a
Don't
question?
be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be,
Can you
no, I'm
give
not
us a
gonna give you
question?
one. I'm not gonna give you a
Can you
question.
state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically that nobody, no, Mr. President-elect, that's not
Go ahead.
appropriate.
All right, fantastic.
So you're attacking us.
That was funny.
Okay, gang, listen up. All right, so how many of you, show of hands, did you follow the campaign trail and the election of last year?
What?
Did you watch the election? Did you watch the campaign?
No.
Did you watch the debates? Did you watch any of that? Show of hands. Okay. Now, since- Anna, you stop talking. Okay, now, since the election, how many times in the news, and if you don't watch the news, then you probably don't have an answer, but if you've even watched the news a little bit, how many times in the news have you heard sources close to Trump say, White House officials heard from a source that, Clinton aides have sources that say, source. You've heard it, Eddie?
Yeah.
Sources say, and they're unnamed, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, gang? Okay. We are going to talk about sources because when we're in history, sources are very important, all right? Sources are extremely important, okay? Because they could be credible, they could not be credible. You never know, right? You never know what's going on. So upon completion of this class, if you look up there, there's certain things I would like you to be able to do, all right? I would like you to be able to grasp the concept of a primary and secondary source, okay? You just grasp the concept, okay? And I'm going to go over that with you real quick. If you go up into the mountains, the Colorado mountains, and you get some extremely fresh, ice-cold, delicious water from a stream, what kind of source would you call that? Raymond? A water source. But are you getting the water right from where it starts?
No. Could be. Wait.
How is the water made in the mountains? The snow melts. Okay, so how about if I went to Maverick and I bought a 16-ounce bottle of Arrowhead water? What kind of source is that?
What's my?
Guillermo.
Secondary.
A secondary source, because it's been purified and moved and shipped and twisted and all this other stuff. But if you get it right from the source, okay, let me put it in terms that you guys understand. You go to an artesian well, that's a spring, okay, spring water. It comes right out of the ground, it's fresh, it's clean, usually comes from the rock, so it's filtered. Clean, right? What kind of source is that?
A clean.
Marco.
Primary.
Primary. If you go to a porta potty looking for water, what kind of source would that be?
Secondary.
Yeah, disgusting, all right? You guys are gross. All right. Now, gang, we don't make stuff up to teach you. These are the standards when it comes to primary and secondary sources. These are extremely important, okay? More often than not, you're going to see foolish people on the news talking about things they don't understand because everybody's got a voice with YouTube and Facebook and everything else that sometimes sources are just not credible. So these are your 3 standards that have to do with sources, and these are more ELA standards than anything, but social studies is a strong supporter and advocate of our English Language Arts department. Key terms, make sure you write these down and leave spaces between them. Primary source and secondary source. Okay? We're going to peel the onion back on these and have a solid understanding of what these are. Got it, Edgar?
What?
What? You got it?
Yeah.
Now, the big question today, the big question that if you're able to answer it, that if I ran into you, Lindsay, in Walmart and I asked you this question and you could answer it, I would be so proud as your teacher. Okay? If your parents came up to me and said, wow, Mr. Hall, I can't believe you taught primary and secondary sources. or you were able to just differentiate, you know, when mom and dad are having a conversation, you say, well, I know what you're saying, Dad, but do you trust that source? Is it a primary or a secondary source? If you can help do that, I would be so proud of you guys. So our big question is, how can I tell the difference between a primary and secondary source?
I know.
No, I don't want you to answer it now. I want to give you the information. If you answer it without me teaching you, they're going to fire me. Okay, I have to teach you first. Golly, you don't want me to get fired, do you?
No.
Lindsay, don't answer that.
I was.
What?
Can we write down our essential questions?
Yeah, you can write that down. How can I tell the difference? Kishan, you had a question?
Do we have to write that down?
No. Okay. What I would like you to do now, you're going to have 10 minutes with your table group, and I would like you to look, there's a sheet on your table that looks like this one on my clipboard. Okay? I would like you as a table group to read and look at this. Okay? It is a fact sheet on primary and secondary sources. Read it as a group. Table leaders, assign people to read, assign one person to read. I don't really care. Exercise your leadership authority. But either way, I want you to get through it. Are you paying attention to me? Okay. Get through it and write down any key terms that may be relevant. Okay? Relevant, and then we're going to go over it together in 10 minutes. Any questions, table leaders? Okay, if you don't have questions, table leaders, you got them. Make it happen.
I'm just kidding.
Artistical, scientifical, and Oregon.
Eddie, you need to read. Don't worry about that.
Document. Do you want me to read that? I can read that.
There are many different kinds of physical, artifact, science, data, and face-to-face special or experience. Primary sources also take various format examples of these are listed below. Auto, history or memory, and where should I write that down? Keyword. History or memory, music, photograph, images, photograph, video, objects, clothing, fashion, uniform, tools, performance, gravestones, and weapons and memorials. Statistics contain data, population, status, whatever reports. While records records are letters, diary, or original resources created by surveyors and secondary sources are doctrines, laws, types, images, and objects of vowels and information by to write those down. These are key words.
Where will I go? What does?
You gotta read that.
It's stuff that's like baseball cards, collector's
How'd you
items.
primary and
Like,
secondary
I'll explain some
sources
memorabilia in a minute.
Well, Primary sources are the original records created by first-hand witnesses of an event. Secondary sources are documents, texts, images, and objects about. Because I'm reading.
No, I said, where are you reading? I was kind of confused.
You guys doing okay over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really tired. I lost my place.
I'm sorry.
Well, primary sources are the original records created by first-hand witnesses of an event. Secondary sources are documents, texts, images, and objects about an event created by somebody. Why is it important to typically reference the primary sources for their information? Textbooks are excellent examples of secondary sources. Why is it important for students to use primary sources? Direct engagement with artifacts and records of the past and current deeper context, exploration, active analysis, and thoughtful response. Analysis of primary sources helps students develop critical thinking skills by examining meaning, context, bias, person's point of view, etc. Primary source analysis fosters learner-led inquiry as students extract knowledge by interacting with a variety of sources that represent different accounts of the past. Students realize that history exists throughout interpretations that reflect their viewpoints and biases.
Keywords. If there's any key details in the facts that help you understand, it's for your benefit to write these notes down.
All right, actually writing these. I'm writing these to help me understand.
You're just looking for key terms or key words that help you understand what a primary or secondary source is, okay?
Well, I'm not going to be here, so until Friday.
Oh, are you gonna have lockers over there too?
I haven't visited.
What day is it?
Are we doing table leaders?
We're doing okay.
Are you going to school today?
What? No, it's hard to do. I'm my table leader. You are my leader. Economic, artistic.
No, I'd rather you didn't.
A lot of examples in there and you don't want to
I mean,
play.
I'm not really good at here.
Wait, what did you make now?
Are you guys coming?
Third year, I've got the whole thing, but basically, like,
What's the meaning of primary? Oh, right here. Right?
no!
Knowledge and analyze.
Listen to her. That's the primary word. You put in your period.
Ooh, documents.
Why do we have to learn all this? Why can't we just join our lessons too? Because we know we only have a certain amount of time.
Are you guys coming? Dylan, good? Anna, you getting notes down?
Actually, yeah, I can't. I'd have to talk to my mom, but I wrote down these though.
Are you having wrote any key words or terms that help you identify primary? That Bo Jackson jersey? Back in the day? You know about Bo.
It was both.
I know, but God, I don't even think you were born when he's what? What? Huh?
Mr. Hall, look for notes.
What? Huh?
Are we talking like this now?
Whatever, reverse that, what? Alright, you're just about out of time, paper
Oh.
leads.
Okay,
Just about out of time.
so we're just writing down keywords.
Yeah, terms that are gonna help you
We're supposed to write
identify primary and
down.
secondary sources. Dylan.
We're supposed to write down.
Trump dab?
I know that's not like,
Trump dab.
doesn't say, what's the difference between a primary source and a secondary?
Amazing, amazing thing.
Why is he so good? I feel really
I don't
sick.
know.
He
I have no idea.
There was this video where they put my parents didn't let me go.
Alright, gang. You're out of time. You're out of
I
time.
don't even know what to write down.
Alright, hit the Guillermo, center light. It's the right light switch, please.
We're not done.
Alright, so you guys read some fact sheets, right? What I'd like to do now as a class, let's go ahead and read it out loud. Can I get one person to read that first paragraph for me, please? Lindsay, go ahead and read that for me.
What is a primary source? Primary sources are original records of the political, nautical, artistic, scientific, social, and intellectual thoughts
Intellectual.
and achievements of specific historical periods produced by the people who participated in and witnessed the past. Primary sources often offer a variety of points of view and perspective of events, issues, people, and places. These records can be found anywhere in a home, a government, archive, etc.
Archives.
archive. The important thing to remember is they were used or created by someone with first-hand experience of events.
Awesome. Okay, can anyone explain what that means? Can anyone explain what a record of political achievement means? Does anyone? A primary source is a record of a political achievement. Can anyone tell me what that means? Matthew.
So, recording political achievement, so I'm going to do an example. So, Donald Trump got elected recently. People who saw that would have that as a primary source.
Awesome. Okay, so how about somebody that was in the room when they announced that he won, right? Somebody that has first-hand knowledge of when he won. Or someone that was in the room that had first-hand knowledge when Hillary Clinton lost, right? Awesome. Very good. Riley, you have something?
I want to introduce Donald Trump.
You want to read next? Okay. Riley, go ahead. Next. Examples.
Okay. Primary sources are not just documents and written records. There are many different kinds of primary sources, including first-person accounts, documents, physical artifacts, scientific data that has been collected but not interpreted, and face-to-face measures with specific knowledge or expertise. Primary sources are also take a variety of formats. Examples of these are listed below.
Okay. Can someone read the examples for me? Eddie.
Audio, oral history or memories, interviews, music, images, photographs, video, film, fine art,
Objects.
objects, clothing, fashion, or uniforms, tools, pottery, gravestones, inventions, weapons,
Memorabilia.
memorabilia, statistics, census,
Data.
census data, population statistics, weather recorders, text, letters, diaries, original documents, legal agreements, treaties, maps, laws, advisements,
Advertisements.
advertisements, recipes, general logic, information,
Sermons and lectures. Okay, great. Can any of you give me examples of any of those items? An example of any of those items. Tell me what type it is and then give me an example. Marco.
The text one
Okay,
and the letter
well, give me an example
of like whatever or
of like whatever. My question was, can anyone in this classroom give me an example of any of those categories? Lindsay,
So it would be images and the video we just watched of Donald Trump.
okay, awesome, that was a video image, that was a first-hand primary source, right? It wasn't twisted or anything like that. Ashlyn,
So this would be text diaries, like would it be like Anne Frank?
ooh.
And I have another one.
But let's explain that, okay?
Oh.
Expand on that. Who's Anne Frank?
Anne Frank, I did this in 3rd grade. Anne Frank is this girl that like her family and stuff, like something about like the German Nazis. And she had a diary, and they have the diary now. So
Yes.
It was the first.
Okay, like I told, I was not a fantastic student. I was not a great reader when I was in elementary school and middle school. But there's a few books that I read. The Diary of Anne Frank, I couldn't put it down. Okay? The Diary of Anne Frank, have any of you read it?
yes.
No.
Amazing, okay?
So
But
interesting.
her diary, the book, is a secondary source. The actual diary is her primary source.
Is it in like a museum?
And
I don't know where it's at, to be honest with you. What?
I have another one. I don't
Okay,
know.
come on, we gotta move
But
forward
for
though.
like Hurricane Katrina, wouldn't that be like images? People have like
Images
of, like, the
you know,
stuff from Hurricane Katrina.
satellite images, actually weather photography, very good. Anybody else?
No.
Raymond?
Obviously, there's a mention to be car.
A car, an antique car too, that was there, right? I have some memorabilia from my time when I was in the war in Afghanistan. I have rifles. I actually have British trooper rifles that I got that were when the British fought the Afghans many, many decades ago. They're antique rifles. They are what kind of sources?
Primary.
Awesome. I have uniforms. When I worked with the French Foreign Legion over there, we were doing some demolition and engineering to build combat outposts. Those French Foreign Legion uniforms are what?
Primary.
Very good. Awesome. Okay, moving forward. How do primary and secondary sources differ? Edgar, read that.
So, while primary sources are the original recording created by the first-hand witness of the event, secondary sources are documents, text, images, and objects about an event created by someone who typed the class. Reference to primary sources for their information. Textbooks are
Excellent.
excellent examples for secondary sources.
Awesome. Right here, this textbook, sorry. This is an excellent secondary source. Can anyone tell me why they think it may be an excellent secondary source? Paige.
Because it's talking about when there was slaves.
Okay, but I go a little bit further. You know what you're trying to say. CJ.
Because it has records of the past.
Yeah, it's not firsthand. Okay? It's a bunch of smart dudes and ladies sitting in a building with typewriters, taking information, taking primary sources, and putting it in imaginable format so we can learn about history. Now, in here, there are primary sources. You can read primary sources, okay? Now, it's obviously not the original primary source of some ancient text or something, colonial text like the Declaration of Independence, which is a what? Primary source. But there are copies of it in there, so it's still a primary source. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, why is it important for students to use primary sources? Can someone read that, please? Anna, read that.
Okay.
Why is it important for students to use primary sources?
Direct engagement with artifacts and records of the past encourages deeper content exploration, active analysis, and thoughtful response. Analysis of primary sources helps students develop critical thinking skills by examining meaning, context, bias, purpose, point of view, etc. Primary source analysis fosters learner-led inquiry as students construct knowledge by interacting with a variety of sources that represent different accounts of the past. Students realize that history exists through interpretation that reflects the viewpoints and biases of those doing the interpreting.
Awesome. Now gang, so when you analyze a primary source, okay, let's just take the Declaration of Independence. We're going to talk about the Declaration of Independence this year. There are 27 grievances that the colonists had with the King of England at the time. Okay, when you do that analysis, it helps you to have a deeper understanding of what was going on during that moment of strife in American history, okay? You just don't take it as like, oh, Declaration of Independence, too bad, so sad, moving on, Pokemon, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, whatever. Okay, you are trying to analyze that primary source to have a deeper understanding. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Jose, give me an example of a primary source.
Like pictures,
Pictures of what? Family pictures?
like hurricanes or like.
Hurricanes? Okay, let me ask you this. I'm going to stump you. What about a battlefield painting of a Civil War battle? Like the Battle of Bull Run. A painting. An artist painting. What is it, Eddie?
Secondary source?
What?
A secondary source?
Why?
Because it's not an actual image of it.
Wait, no.
It's primary source.
Huh?
The artist probably witnessed it and was flying out there.
Eddie's right. Okay, Eddie's right. The artist was there, but the image, okay, the image is his perception of it, right? So, paintings are hard, okay? They are an artifact because they are also something from the time frame, like my rifle. You understand that? Okay? So, technically, it's actually a primary source. But I can understand why you would think that because I saw the picture, I was there, I saw what was going on. Now, what if I watched what happened and later on I drew a picture?
Secondary source.
No, still primary source.
No.
Well, because if you're out on the baseball field, okay, during recess, okay, you see Jordan and Jose get in a fight. You watch it. You see what happens. You come and tell me, are you a primary source or a secondary source? Okay, even if you see it right then and there. 2 hours later, Cameron, what happened? How did they get in a fight? Are you a primary source or secondary source?
Primary.
You're still a primary source. But as soon as you tell me, and then I have to tell Principal Bennett what happened, am I a primary or secondary?
Secondary.
Very good. What?
Okay, so I have a secondary source.
Okay.
It would be the text of the Bill of Rights.
This?
The
Constitution.
yeah.
Why?
Because it's not the original. It's not like you were there and seen it, or it's not the original of it.
Soon as it's transcribed, what you're saying is if you translate in any way, shape, or form, it's considered, it's paraphrased, right? Very good. Okay, technically, no, well, not technically, but that's considered a primary source, but it's not exactly how it was written. You're right. Because a lot of things in school, they don't write it like, okay, how many of you go to church? You heard about all the Bibles, right? There's so many different versions of the Bible, right? King James, New International Version, Okay, the people that wrote the original Bible, the 66 books written by 40 authors, what language do you think they wrote? Sanskrit, Dari, a lot of ancient languages, right? Do you think they translated exactly into English?
No.
It's primary and secondary sources, okay? How it's translated, all right? We got to move on. Uh-oh. Bear with me. Okay, primary. Somebody read that.
Oh, no.
Matthew.
Primary, not made or coming from something something else, original.
Awesome. Andon, first hand.
First hand, coming directly from the original source.
Okay. No. No. First hand, coming directly from the original source. What is a source, Edgar?
A source, a person's publication or object that gives information.
Okay, a source is a source is a source. Is where something comes from. It can be a secondary source and it can be a primary source. Okay? But it's still a source nonetheless. Secondary, Ashlyn, read it.
Coming from or created using an original source.
Awesome.
Write this down.
Oh, nice.
No, you can write it down. Good. Second hand, CJ.
Secondhand, non-original, taken from someone or something else.
Awesome. Okay, real quick, come up with your own definitions of primary, first hand, source, secondary, and second hand. Come up with your own, you can work with a group. Go ahead.
So we have to make the same boxes.
No, you don't need to make it. Don't interrupt me.
So, primary sources,
Your own personal definition.
say
Yeah.
it.
You got 2 minutes.
Primary sources.
Keeping score for you today. Some volleyball. Yeah, don't mess up.
Yeah, we see it in action.
Last time, the first time we lost, we only lost by 2 points.
Okay, we better win today.
Good try.
Okay. Is it the or the? Not the.
What?
I'm trying to. I forgot how to spell the.
T-H-E, the. Talk to your table leader, not me. Well, no, primary is the
No, you
source,
gotta put.
but first hand is second source. It's
Oi.
second knowledge of stuff.
Oi, mate.
Like original perspective.
That's
Good
definition.
Yep.
Also, like, first hand can be. So it's, start with what you say?
Perspective.
Oi.
Primary perspective?
Original perspective.
Original perspective.
Okay, so secondary source, second person, say it, says it, but not correct. No. I'm the only boy in this team.
All right. Table leaders, do you have at least one of those definitions out of the 5?
Yes.
All right. Caleb. What's your table got, Marco? Come on, you're a table lead. What do you guys got? Give me one of your definitions.
Primary source, we put witness.
Nice, I like it. You guys, what do you got?
We got the primary, made by the original person or by someone who is present.
Very good. All right, Guillermo, what you guys got?
We got first hand and coming from the original himself.
Nice, I like it. Ashley, what do you guys got?
The original source from someone or something that witnessed it.
Nice. And Cameron, what do you guys got?